The silence inside the cryo chamber was endless. For centuries, the ship drifted between dead stars, its engines asleep, its systems keeping one pod active. Inside that pod lay a human, Commander Ryan Cole of the United Earth Defense Force. His heartbeat was a faint whisper beneath layers of ice and time. The galaxy had long forgotten his name. The war that once raged between humans and the dominion of Atheris had ended with Earth's disappearance. No one knew if the humans had survived. The rest of the galaxy believed they had perished. When the ship finally detected a signal, an old distress beacon, it triggered the sequence. The ice cracked. Warm light filled the pod. A slow heartbeat grew louder. The human opened his eyes for the first time in 300 years. The air hissed. His first breath came out rough and painful, but it was alive. His body shivered, his muscles trembling as he tried to remember how to move. The world outside was unknown, but he was still here. Ryan stumbled out of the pod and fell to one knee. His eyes scanned the room, metal walls covered with dust, lights flickering, and a faded insignia of Earth flag. He whispered, "Still standing, huh?" His voice echoed in the empty chamber. He pressed his hand on the control panel, and the ship responded weakly. Systems booted one by one, revealing a fragmented history log. The ship's AI, a soft voice named Luma, came online. Commander Ryan Cole, cryosleep cycle complete. Mission status, unknown. Ryan coughed, feeling the ache of frozen years. How long? Estimated time elapsed. 312 years, 7 months. He closed his eyes. Everyone he knew, everyone he fought for was gone. He was a relic. The AI's holographic form flickered, a blue figure shaped like a woman. External sensors detect activity. Unknown vessels are scanning us. Energy signatures match Dominion patterns. Ryan straightened, his soldier's instincts returning instantly. Dominion? They're still around? They have evolved. Their weapon output is 70 times greater than during your era. Ryan smiled faintly. Good, that means they still bleed. The ship shuddered as something hit its hull. Ryan grabbed a support bar and steadied himself. Status. Direct hit from an ion beam. Shields. Minimal. Then we fight. He limped toward the command deck. His body still weak, but his spirit blazing like before. Every step he took, the floor echoed with determination. The Dominion thought humanity was extinct. They were about to learn otherwise. He reached the control chair and sat down, activating old systems with a manual override. The console recognized his handprint. The ship responded like an old warhorse hearing its master's voice again. Weapons came online, primitive by modern alien standards, but human design had always been unpredictable. Luma warned, "Commander, these weapons are outdated. Their shields will—" "Shut up and trust me," Ryan said calmly. He wasn't just fighting to survive. He was fighting for the memory of Earth itself. Outside, 3 alien ships circled his small vessel like predators. Their captains didn't expect resistance. To them, it was just debris from a forgotten age. Then suddenly, human weapons roared to life. Old kinetic railguns fired tungsten rounds. Silent bullets of death accelerated to hypervelocity. One Dominion ship's shield collapsed. The second ship's sensors failed as a magnetic pulse fried their systems. Ryan grinned. You aliens never learned, humans don't need fancy toys to win. The enemy regrouped quickly. Plasma beams cut through the void. One struck his left engine. The ship lurched violently. Luma screamed, "Hull breach on deck 3!" Ryan's fingers moved across the controls, sealing the damaged section. Reroute power to railguns. Target their flagship. Commander, the energy reserves. Use cryo backup cells. I don't plan on sleeping again. The ship's old systems glowed red. The railgun charged for one final shot. The Dominion captain, watching from his bridge, laughed in disbelief. His translator rendered his words. A fossil fights us with iron slugs? How quaint. But the moment the railgun fired, their laughter stopped. The slug pierced through the flagship's reactor. A blinding explosion filled the darkness. 2 ships gone, one drifting away. Ryan leaned back, breathing heavily. 300 years and you still underestimate us. Luma's voice softened. Commander, life support is failing. We need to find shelter. He nodded, scanning for habitable worlds. The map showed a planet nearby, once part of the Dominion mining routes. It had oxygen and gravity similar to Earth. Set course, he ordered. The ship limped through space, leaking energy and smoke. The engines howled like dying beasts. Still it moved forward. Hours later, the ship entered the planet's atmosphere. Fire streaked across the sky as metal burned. Ryan gripped the seat tightly. "Hold together, old friend." They crashed into the surface, sliding across sand and rock before coming to a halt. Silence returned. Only the wind and his heartbeat remained. Ryan forced the hatch open. The first sunlight in centuries hit his face. The air was fresh, warm, alive. He stepped out and fell to his knees, touching the soil. For the first time since waking, he smiled. "Feels like home," he whispered. He looked around. The landscape was strange. Purple skies, twin suns, and ruins scattered across the valley. Pieces of alien metal, statues of unknown species. The Dominion had clearly been here, but now it was empty. Ryan began exploring, scanning for supplies. He found scraps of alien tech and power cells. He worked for hours, fixing a comm relay, trying to send a signal. His hands were steady, his mind sharp. Humans were survivors. Always had been. Night fell quickly. The twin moons rose. Ryan sat by a fire made from broken ship panels. Luma projected beside him, glowing softly. "Commander, no human signals detected. The galaxy has changed." He stared at the sky. "Then we change it back." A sudden movement caught his eye. In the distance, a figure moved, tall, armored, carrying a spear that shimmered with energy. It wasn't human. The alien skin reflected moonlight, eyes bright and cautious. Ryan stood slowly, keeping one hand near his sidearm. The figure spoke first, its voice translated through Luma. "Identify yourself, being of carbon flesh. This land belongs to the Atheris Ascendancy." Ryan's heart froze at the name. Atheris, the same Dominion that destroyed Earth. He said, "Name's Ryan Cole, Commander, United Earth Defense Force." The alien frowned. "Human impossible. Your kind perished ages ago." Ryan's tone was cold. "Guess I missed the funeral." The alien lowered its spear slightly, studying him. "You destroyed 3 of our ships. No human should possess such power." Ryan shrugged. "Power? No, just experience." There was a long pause. The alien finally said, "Our Empress will wish to meet you," Ryan replied. "Tell your Empress I'm not here to kneel. I'm here to remember what you took." The alien hesitated, then gestured toward the horizon. "Follow me. Refusal will bring destruction." Ryan looked up at the moons again and whispered, "I already lived through destruction." He holstered his weapon and followed. They walked through the ruins, past ancient structures that once served as Dominion outposts. The alien guard kept his distance, clearly wary of the human. Ryan noticed the fear in his posture. Even after centuries, the name human still carried weight. It was the fear of something that refused to die. At the end of the valley, they reached a citadel carved into the cliffs. Towers of glowing crystal rose from the stone. Alien banners fluttered in the night wind. Inside, guards watched silently as Ryan entered. The atmosphere was heavy, almost reverent. The alien escort stopped before a massive door. "Beyond this hall stands the Empress of the Atheris." "Do not draw your weapon," Ryan smirked. "I'm not the one who should be afraid." The doors opened. Inside, the Empress sat upon a throne of silver and light. Her armor gleamed, her eyes sharp like a predator's. She studied the human with curiosity and something else, unease. "So, the last child of Earth awakens," she said slowly. "What drives you to step into my domain?" Ryan met her gaze. "To remind your kind that humans never stayed buried." The hall fell silent. The Empress leaned forward, her expression unreadable. "We defeated your kind once. We destroyed your worlds. What can one human possibly do now?" Ryan's voice was calm, almost gentle. "You destroyed our worlds, but you never understood what built them." He stepped closer. "We build again." The Empress's eyes narrowed, but for the first time in centuries, she felt something her species had forgotten. Fear. And as the twin moons bathed the hall in pale light, the legend of humanity began again. The man who woke from the dead was not just a survivor. He was a storm waiting to rise. The hall of the alien citadel was silent except for the soft hum of the Empress's throne. Ryan stood tall in front of her, his uniform still torn from the crash, his face marked with dust and determination. Around him, guards in glowing armor kept their weapons ready, but none dared move. They had seen what one human ship had done in orbit, and though they didn't understand it, they respected the danger that walked before them. The Empress rose slowly. Her movements were graceful but heavy with power. She was taller than Ryan, her skin shining faintly under the silver lights. "You speak boldly for one who stands alone," she said. Your people were wiped from the stars long before my birth. You are a ghost from a failed race. Ryan didn't flinch. Maybe, but ghosts have long memories. Her eyes narrowed. You think to threaten me? He shook his head. No, just reminding you that extinction doesn't mean weakness. It means you underestimated the wrong species. For a long moment, the Empress said nothing. Then she gestured for the guards to leave. The doors closed with a heavy echo, leaving only the two of them in the wide throne hall. She stepped down from her platform, her expression unreadable. You interest me, human. The stories say your kind burned worlds when cornered, destroyed fleets to save colonies. Tell me, how did you survive for 3 centuries in the dark? Ryan looked at the floor for a moment before answering. We built cryo ships to outlast the war. Most never woke up. I was supposed to guard Earth's last ark, but the system failed. My ship drifted until now. So you are the last, she said softly. Maybe not. Maybe some of us are still sleeping out there, waiting for a signal. The Empress studied him carefully. There was no fear in his tone, no weakness. Only the quiet strength of someone who had lost everything yet refused to surrender. She said, You stand on our world, a planet of the Aetheris Dominion. If I wished, I could end your life right now. Ryan met her eyes. Then why haven't you? Her lips curved slightly. Because I have not decided if you are an enemy or an opportunity. He crossed his arms. You mean a tool? She smiled faintly. Perhaps, but a useful one. The Empress turned and motioned for him to follow. He did, his boots echoing on the smooth floor. They walked through wide corridors filled with alien carvings and floating crystal lights. Your kind built machines that terrified even the Dominion, she said. Your weapons used kinetic force rather than plasma. Inefficient but devastating. Tell me, why did you humans favor such primitive designs? Ryan ran a hand along the wall, feeling the smooth surface. Because plasma can fail in magnetic storms. Because shields can adapt, but a solid slug of metal? You can't outsmart that. You can only die from it. The Empress gave a soft laugh. Brutal logic. Perhaps that's why you are so dangerous. They reached a balcony overlooking the city. Below them, glowing towers rose into the air and alien ships hovered like insects over a nest. You destroyed 3 of my ships, she said quietly. That would normally earn you a death sentence. I wasn't exactly awake enough to ask permission, Ryan replied. Her gaze stayed on the horizon. And yet, I find myself curious. Your kind was said to be primitive, emotional, and self-destructive. But there is discipline in you. Fire and restraint. Ryan gave a small shrug. That's what surviving a dying world does to you. The Empress turned to face him again. My people have been at war for centuries. We fight among ourselves now. The Dominion fractured long ago. I hold this world only by strength and fear. The others plot in the shadows. Perhaps you could help me bring order back. Ryan frowned. You want a human to help you rebuild the empire that killed humanity? I offer you survival, she said calmly. Work with me and I can give you resources, access to archives, and the truth about your people's end. Ryan looked at her for a long moment. The truth? Yes. The records of the final human war are still in our archives. You can see what really happened. He exhaled slowly. Show me. She led him to a dark chamber beneath the citadel, where massive screens lined the walls. The air was cold and heavy. A single command from her fingers brought the system to life. Images flickered. Old footage of burning cities, collapsing orbital stations, and the last transmissions of human fleets. The sounds of battle filled the room. Ryan watched silently, his jaw tightening. He saw Earth's final defense fleet, ships forming a desperate wall of steel and fire. He saw them surrounded, outnumbered, yet refusing to surrender. Your people fought with impossible courage, the Empress said softly. Even our ancestors feared you. The War Council ordered your destruction not because you were weak, but because you would never stop fighting. Ryan's eyes stayed fixed on the screen. So they killed us because we scared them. Yes, she admitted. You refused to kneel. He stood there for a long time watching the last moments of humanity's glory. The final transmission ended with a message. If one human remains, the flame of Earth lives on. Ryan closed his eyes. Guess that flame's still burning. The Empress turned toward him. I see it now. You are not just a survivor. You are a memory given form. He looked at her. A memory can still fight. Later that night, the Empress offered him quarters inside the citadel. Alien attendants brought him food and medical supplies, though he didn't trust them. He sat alone, staring at the stars through the window. The world outside was alien, but the stars were still the same. Somewhere out there, fragments of human ships might still drift, and maybe, just maybe, someone else like him would wake someday. Luma's hologram appeared beside him. "Commander, her intentions are unclear. Analysis suggests she may wish to use your knowledge for war." Ryan nodded. "I know, but for now we play along. I need time to learn about this galaxy." "What will you do when she asks for your loyalty?" He smiled faintly. "Remind her what human loyalty really means." The next day, the Empress summoned him to a war council. Generals of different species filled the room, some reptilian, others crystalline or insectoid. They looked at him with mixed expressions: curiosity, fear, and hatred. One general hissed, "This creature destroyed our ships. It should be dissected, not honored." Ryan's voice was calm. "Then maybe you should have sent better pilots." The general slammed his clawed hand on the table, but the Empress raised her hand. "Enough, this human is under my protection. He has proven his worth." Ryan leaned on the table. "You're all fighting over who rules a dead empire. Maybe you forgot what leadership looks like. It's not fear, it's purpose." The generals murmured angrily, but his words cut through them. The Empress watched silently, studying the human who spoke like a soldier of destiny. When the meeting ended, she approached him privately. "You speak like a commander still at war." Ryan nodded. "Because the war's not over. It never is." That evening, the Empress took him to the shipyard outside the city. Massive alien warships floated in the docks, each armed with energy cannons and shield generators. She pointed to one half-finished vessel. "This ship could rule 100 systems. Yet our engineers cannot make its system stable. Your human designs were more efficient. Perhaps you can help." Ryan examined the structure. "You built it wrong. You relied too much on power instead of balance." He touched a console, adjusting the energy output. The ship's engines hummed smoothly for the first time. The Empress's eyes widened slightly. "You truly understand machinery." "Machines are honest," he said. "They don't lie like empires do." As days turned into weeks, Ryan became a mystery to everyone in the Citadel. He repaired machines no alien could fix. He studied their archives, learning about the fractured state of the galaxy. He found records of old human colonies, some destroyed, some unconfirmed. Hope began to stir in him again. But one night, while exploring restricted data, he found something that froze his blood. Hidden in the archives was a message marked, "Classified, Human Project." It showed images of cryo ships identical to his own, thousands of them, launched into deep space. The humans hadn't died completely. They had hidden their survivors among the stars. His ship was just one of many. Luma's voice trembled. "Commander, there may be others." Ryan's heart pounded. "Then we're not extinct. We're just waiting." The next morning, Ryan went to the Empress's throne room. She looked at him curiously. "You have something to tell me?" "Yes," he said firmly. "You lied. Humanity isn't gone, and if they wake up, this galaxy won't be ready for them." Her expression darkened. "Be careful, human. You walk a thin line." Ryan took a step closer. "Then maybe it's time you learned what happens when humans stop walking and start running." The Empress stared at him, and for the first time since she had met him, she felt uncertain. Deep inside, she realized the truth. The man before her wasn't just a survivor. He was the beginning of something her empire would never be able to control. And far above the alien world, in the endless dark of space, dormant human ships began to stir. The Citadel had grown silent. For the first time since Ryan arrived, the halls that had echoed with alien commands were quiet. The Empress watched him with a careful gaze. He moved through the corridors with ease, inspecting the shipyard, the archives, and the machinery. Every alien who crossed his path whispered in awe, for they had never seen such strength combined with intelligence. The humans were supposed to be gone, extinct, but Ryan proved that survival could carry power far beyond imagination. Ryan had spent weeks studying the Empress's fleet. He knew their ships were fast, their shields strong, but their design relied too heavily on energy fields. Against physical force, they faltered. He sketched blueprints in his mind, imagining modifications, reinforced hulls, kinetic railguns, compact reactor cores, simple but devastating. When he spoke, the Empress listened, though she tried not to show her concern. She had commanded the Dominion for decades, Yet she had never encountered a being capable of recalculating war itself with a few gestures and words. One evening, Ryan returned to the ship he had repaired himself. The engines purred smoothly, the systems balanced. He stepped onto the command deck and stared out at the alien world below. The twin moons shone like silver eyes, reflecting on the metallic structures and glowing fields. He could hear Luma's soft voice in his mind. "Commander, the planet is secure, but sensors detect unusual energy readings. Several unknown ships are entering the system." Ryan's brow furrowed. Aliens or humans? Unknown signature. Not recorded in Dominion archives. He clenched his fists. Then we find out. By dawn, the fleet had gathered. Alien warships moved in patrol, cautious, defensive, but Ryan knew the truth. Humanity did not hide. They calculated. They struck precisely. The first vessel emerged from the dark void, a sleek human ship, silver and black, armed but elegant. Ryan's heart beat faster. The signal matched his own old fleet, a long-lost design revived. He activated the communications channel. "This is Commander Ryan Cole. Identify yourselves." A voice responded, deep and steady. "Commander Cole, we are survivors. United Earth remnants. We received your distress beacon. Are you ready for the mission?" Ryan smiled, the first genuine smile in centuries. "I was born ready. Where's the rest?" They follow. One by one we awaken. "We come home, Captain." The Empress watched silently from her observation deck, her arms crossed. Her empire had ruled the stars for centuries, crushing humans wherever they appeared. And now, one human commanded fleets that had slept for hundreds of years. Her face betrayed the smallest hint of fear, but she did not speak. She had underestimated the endurance of humanity, and that was the greatest mistake of her life. Ryan moved quickly. He needed to prepare. The Empress had resources, and he would use them, but not for her. He would awaken the systems buried within the Citadel, learn its defenses, and gather information about the Dominion's remaining fleets. Every sensor, every reactor, every map became part of his calculations. By the time the first human reinforcements arrived, he had a plan. Hours later, the sky was lit by the engines of human ships emerging from the planet's atmosphere. Ryan guided them to the hidden hangars, welcoming old designs and new modifications alike. Each ship was a survivor, crafted with precision, engineered to last centuries. The Dominion had assumed humans were extinct, but humanity's genius had endured in frozen capsules waiting for the right moment. He addressed the captains in a large hangar. "We have been gone for too long. Our worlds were taken, our people scattered, but now we return. We do not come to negotiate, and we do not come to beg. We come to reclaim what was ours. Every world the Dominion destroyed, every colony they burned will be remembered. And justice will be delivered." The captains saluted, their voices steady and clear. "We are ready, Commander." The Empress approached him later, her expression controlled but her eyes sharp. "You plan to destroy my empire," she said. Ryan looked at her calmly. "I plan to remind the galaxy what humanity is capable of." She studied him for a long time. "You are dangerous but not cruel. I wonder, why do you still value life when you could end it all?" He shrugged. "Because life builds strength. And strength without purpose is nothing." The following days were filled with preparation. Ryan coordinated human crews with alien engineers, teaching them new methods, reworking ships, and training soldiers. He was patient, meticulous, and relentless. The Dominion had assumed their enemies were extinct, but their arrogance had blinded them. Humans remembered. Humans adapted. Humans were unstoppable. Then the first attack came. Dominion raiders, smaller ships with plasma weapons, moved to intercept the reinforcements. Ryan was ready. He ordered the human ships to deploy in formations they had practiced centuries ago, with railguns and energy pulse cannons covering every vector. The raiders fired, expecting easy targets. But they met precise counters. Kinetic projectiles that punched through shields, calculated maneuvers that avoided plasma streams. Within minutes, half the raiders were destroyed, the rest fled. Ryan surveyed the battle through the viewport. "This is only the beginning," he said. Luma's voice confirmed the remaining Dominion presence. "The main fleet is moving. Approximately 50 vessels fully armed." He nodded. "Then we make history." The fleet took off, a dozen human ships rising from the planet like silver arrows. Ryan led them personally, piloting the flagship with unmatched skill. The Dominion fleet appeared on sensors. massive and overwhelming, but the humans moved with precision born of centuries of strategy. Ryan's orders were concise. Each movement was calculated. Each shot was lethal. For every ship the Dominion destroyed, humans destroyed too. Their enemies' tactics were predictable, their arrogance blinding. In the heat of battle, Ryan's own ship was struck. Alarms screamed, systems failed. But he adjusted the reactors, rerouted power, and countered with a massive railgun strike. The flagship of the Dominion was pierced in the engine core, exploding in a brilliant flash. The other ships hesitated, unsure how to fight a species they had assumed extinct. Ryan's fleet pressed the advantage. Within hours, the Dominion forces were shattered, their morale broken, their fleets retreating to unknown sectors. Ryan's victory was absolute, but he did not celebrate. He knew this was only the first step. The Dominion was fractured but not gone. Other systems would resist. Other empresses and warlords would rise to challenge humanity's return. He needed allies, resources, and strategy. Humanity could not afford to fight blindly. But he also knew the galaxy had just been reminded of a truth it had forgotten. Humans were not weak, and humans were not dead. The Empress approached the battlefield observation deck, silent as ever. She had watched Ryan coordinate, fight, and inspire. "Your people, they are not what I was told," she said quietly. Ryan turned to her, his eyes clear and sharp. "You learned the hard way. Never underestimate survival." The Empress nodded almost reluctantly. "Perhaps there is more to your species than I realized. Perhaps I could learn from you." Ryan's lips twitched in a small smile. "We don't ask for favors. We earn them." With the Dominion fleet scattered and human reinforcements secure, Ryan began planning the next phase. He would awaken more survivors, secure abandoned human colonies, and build alliances. Every system he touched would remember the name of Earth and the strength of its people. Humanity had been pushed to the brink, but the flame was not only alive, it was a storm. In the Citadel, the Empress watched Ryan interact with her engineers and generals. They listened to him. They learned from him. And even those who had doubted his strength could not deny it. He was more than a human. He was a leader born of fire, strategy, and survival. The Dominion, for all its power, had never seen anything like him. As night fell on the alien world, Ryan stood on the balcony again, staring at the stars. Signals from dormant human ships reached him, sleeping vessels scattered across light years waiting for his command. He felt a surge of hope. Humanity was not just back. It was rising. The Empress appeared beside him. "You are unstoppable," she said softly. "I cannot ignore what you have achieved in so little time." Ryan looked at her. "Then maybe it's time you stopped trying." Her gaze met his, steady and unreadable. For the first time, she understood what the humans had been all along. Not just a species, but a force of will, of courage, of relentless endurance. She had ruled with fear, but Ryan ruled with something far older, far more enduring. Humanity did not rely on power alone. They relied on the spark inside, a spark that no weapon, no empire could ever extinguish. And so, under twin moons and a sky filled with stars, the last human commander prepared for the next phase of his mission. The galaxy had thought humans were extinct. They were wrong. Not only were humans alive, but they were stronger, wiser, and unstoppable. The Dominion had been warned. Humanity would not kneel, would not hide, and would not forget. The war for the galaxy had only just begun.